is as priceless as the life experience that we have gained in our high school careers. Do you remember the first time you drove a car and almost got in a wreck? Drive safely. Or how about the time you threw a huge party at your house and got grounded for almost a month? Don't disobey your parents. Then there was the time you decided to go take a road trip to a concert and you got lost for over 4 hours. Ask for directions. And of course, you can probably remember your first job. Money does not grow on trees, and your parents are not your own personal ATM. Through experiences like this, over the past 4 years, we have aged 10, and through trials and tribulations, we have become adults. And over these years, I've come to realize that it does not matter why you entered the race, how well you did in one part or the other, or what place you finished in. What really matters is that you finished the race at all. That is the true accomplishment. And of course, we could not have made it without a little help along the way. I will never forget the English teacher who pushed us to our limits with her meticulousness, and the math teacher who was quite possibly the smartest man alive. Then there's the history teacher who has a story for any occasion, the science teacher who can give an explanation for anything, the coach who wouldn't let us quit, and the principals and counselors who kept us on the right track, whether we wanted to be or not. Although we may have hated it, we may never receive quite the same amount of guidance that we did in high school, most of which coming from two people that we call Mom and Dad. Don't forget to thank your parents. They have worked just as hard as you have to get you here tonight. So here we sit at the end of the race, the final paces. Take a moment to look around. We see all of our friends, family, teachers, and administrators looking on with pride and elation, cheering us on to the finish line. It is our time to shine and run the victory lap. It is time to finish the longest and most rewarding commitment of our lives. However, with the ending of this race, the beginning of a new one will soon commence. Some of us will stay home, some will go away, some will join the armed forces, some will work, some will go to a 4-year college, and some will become beach bums in Panama. We will soon have our own races to run with new competitors and new rules. We must now leave behind a wonderful group of teachers and administrators from an excellent school and say goodbye to friends and family as we embrace their roots. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. Congratulations, class of 2002. Thank you.
Our next student speaker is Stephanie Stella, a highest honors graduate.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, parents and friends, and fellow graduates. Welcome to an event 18 years in the making. I know parents feel like the time has passed too quickly, and the students feel like it has taken forever. Either way, here we are. High school is finally over, and from this point on, we're adults and responsible for our actions. Does anyone else find that a little scary? We've all had a lot to deal with this year. We've seen our neighbors take a step back and evaluate their lives. Now it's our turn. The question is, do we have the courage to look at ourselves and decide what we want to do with our lives? I'm not saying we have to figure it all out tonight. I know I'm not sure where I'll be in 10 years. But it's time to make a start. Albert Camus once said, freedom is nothing else the chance to be better. This is our beginning. We can be better brothers and sisters, better children, better friends. We can be better people. But ultimately, it's up to us. That is our freedom. According to Tom Stoppard, every exit is an entry to somewhere else. We are all getting on the highway of life, and we choose what lanes to drive in and what exits to take. Some of us are headed off to college. Others are taking a year off because they already have a job, are saving for school, want to travel, or just need a well-deserved break. It has been a long road, and we would never have made it this far if it weren't for a few people. I would like to take a moment to express some gratitude. Thank you to the teachers. You have worked hard, and we haven't always made it easy on you. Thank you for every time you went the extra mile and gave us one more chance. We can never thank you enough for giving us the knowledge with which we enter the world. Thank you to our friends. You were there for the best of times and for the worst of times. Like when we were all cramming for Mr. Claus's humanity final, or trying to edit Mrs. Calvin's research paper one last time before we handed it in. You were there for the first detention and for the last detention. You were there when the cutest guy in chemistry class finally smiled at us. You were there when the world stood still and life didn't seem like it was worth living. You are the reason that Carl Rogers said, "When I look at the world, I'm pessimistic. But when I look at people, I'm optimistic." Please continue to be our reason for optimism. And the biggest thanks of all goes to our parents. You are and always will be the rocks we stand on. You watched us go from the first day of kindergarten to graduating from the 6th grade and moving on to junior high, and to finally reaching high school, and to this moment. You were there as we got the winning touchdown, danced our way to state, or sang a solo in the spring choral concert. You were there for the late nights and for the early mornings. If we never said thank you, we meant to. You have been patient, kind, loving, and wise. It was St. Augustine who said, "Patience is the companion of wisdom." Even if we don't always want to admit it, you have the wisdom it will take us 20 years or more to gain. And even then, you'll still be 20 years ahead of us. Please continue to be patient, and maybe one day we'll learn to be patient with our children. Thank you for all the things we know you've done, and for all the little things that we'll never know about. You've prepared us to fight our way through life. Speaking of that, how many of us have heard expressions like, "You finally made it," and "Welcome to the real world"? I know they were meant to encourage us, but have you ever considered the irony of the statement, "the real world"? Think about it. We've been going to school for 35 hours each week. Every night we had hours upon hours of homework. Most of us have had part-time jobs for at least the last 2 years. And that's not even including the time we spent doing extracurricular activities. How many adults do all that and don't get paid for it? I guess the real question I want to ask is, does this real world we're about to enter mean we get a break? We wish. Anyway, we have worked very hard, and we are ready to move on, as much as some of us might want to hold on to the past. We are the light of the future. It was Stephen Wharton who said, "There are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or to be the mirror that reflects it." We get to choose whether we are the candle or the mirror. Sometimes we'll be in the limelight, and sometimes we'll just be one of the crowd. The one thing we need to ask ourselves before we go along with anything is, do I know what this is all about? Whatever we do, each one of us is going to be responsible for the actions we take and have to deal with the consequences. We are all individuals, and no one can decide but us unless we let them. Never forget what Carl Jung said. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That is our next job, to find out who we are. We spent the last 13 years getting to know the world, and finding that we change around every corner. Most of our life has been lived with training wheels in the nest. Now it's time to take off those wheels, and to take off without anyone holding on. Our family and friends will always be behind us, but this journey belongs to us. You know, that sounds pretty daunting to me, so I'm sure it does to you. But you know what? Every single person in this room today has the confidence in us that we can do it. They have been behind us this far, and they aren't going anywhere. If we use what we have learned, and continue to grow, we will be successful. There's going to be pain and hardship, because nothing in life comes easy. But we will make it if we never forget where we have been and where we would like to go. Never forget to live life for the moments you will always remember, like tonight. Congratulations, class of 2002. We've made it this far and the sky is the limit. It's time for us to make our mark on the world. Thank you.
Our next student speaker is Jay Gilliland, Vice President of the class of 2002.
Today, right now, this moment, the last minutes of our high school career, the first time we've all been assembled together as the class of 2002. Yet ironically, this is also the last. We approach these remaining minutes in deep thought, some of us pondering the road we're about to leave forever, others of us anxiously awaiting our new lives from the timeless high school classics, prom, homecoming, football games, and academic matches. We think, what have these long past few years meant? For some of us, nothing more than the attainment of a diploma. For others, the creation and the foundation of character, personality, and responsibility. Despite the outlook you may embrace, the harsh yet blissful reality is upon us all. This is the end of so many memories, yet the beginning of our lives, the start of a new lifestyle, the acknowledgement of a new independence. Don't forget the friendships you have made, but don't be hesitant about acquiring new ones. This is the chance to show the world of what it is that you're made. Don't be too careful, yet don't be too careless. It is at this time in our lives we stand before endless opportunities and multifarious closed doors awaiting our arrival. I encourage everyone to venture out into the world, to see the things you've always wanted to see, to do the things you've always dreamed of doing. For there are people who put their dreams in a little box and say, yes, I've got dreams, of course. And they put the box away. As Irma von Beck once said, it takes an uncommon amount of guts to put your dreams on the line, to hold them up and say, how good or bad am I? That's where courage comes in. I ask you, don't lose the courage. Don't allow that quote to maintain its commonality. Take your dreams and run with them. Take all of your plans and activate them. Take all of your hopes and prosper. But always remember one thing. Maintain your self-respect and dignity. Preserve and uphold that class that all of you possess. A good friend of mine told me something that his father once told him. Do whatever you need to make you happy and fulfill your life. Yet don't forget that tomorrow you have to awaken with yourself in the mirror. Good luck and congratulations to you all. And remember something that my father always told me. Your best is all that will ever be good enough. Thank you.
Our last student speaker is Chad Hassan. Chad is the president of the class of 2002. wanted to make sure that this speech was delivered from the heart, so. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, faculty, the administration, and the graduating class of 2002. It is my pleasure to be standing here and giving a speech on behalf of the senior class. I would like to start off with a comparison. Picture these two images, if you will. Attending 4 years of high school and a roller coaster ride. I know all of us have rode a roller coaster, and most of us have attended high school. I can remember the first time I rode a roller coaster. I couldn't wait to take the ride. Excitement drove inside of me at the thought of experiencing something I had never experienced before. Yet somewhere hidden deep within, I was also a bit afraid because this was something very new to me. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. As it was my turn to ride, I took my seat, looked around me, and realized I didn't know any people accompanying me on my new voyage into the unknown. The ride soon started, and as I got used to everything, I began to become comfortable. That was until the ride went down its first hill. I was scared, but the next hill came, I felt a little wiser and better prepared. The ride suddenly didn't seem that bad until it hit a gigantic loop. That fear of the unknown quickly rushed back into my mind. But using my knowledge from the previous ups and downs, I quickly calmed myself. Even though I was having a good time, toward the end of the ride, I realized I had enough and couldn't wait for the ride to end. When it did end, I walked away with the desire to ride it again, but realized there were other rides to experience and new journeys to explore. I had to come to terms with the fact that even though the ride was fun and the journey exciting, it was time to move on. Now you're wondering, how does this ride compare to my time at Oak Hills? I'm not going to tell you Oak Hills was as fun as riding the Beast of the Vortex. But when I first started at Oak Hills, I was very scared and excited to leave Delhi Junior High. I didn't know what to expect at Oak Hills. My first few months of school were very uncomfortable as I had classes with new people and new teachers. As the year went on, I loved it and had made new friends and felt like I knew what I was doing. But as my junior year came, it was like the loop in the ride. It shook me. But I had enough knowledge and patience to calm myself. Now the ride has finally come to an end this year. I couldn't wait for school to be over. But I realized, as the ride, high school was quick, exciting, and had plenty of ups and downs. Even though I want to go back and do it again, it's time to choose to do a different ride. I enjoyed my time at Oak Hills. I enjoyed my classmates, my coaches, teachers, and principals. It saddens me to think that my time at Oak Hills is over. I know that it has prepared me for the rest of my life, and hopefully all of us will find success in our future. In closing, I would just like to thank my family for all their support and guidance, and also like to thank my classmates. I've known some of you since kindergarten, and others I just met this year. Together, we accomplished a lot over the last 3 years. I think it is amazing how we went from competitors in junior high and elementary school to classmates and friends in high school. It's hard to imagine life without all of you guys next year. You guys have become more than just classmates. Became like a second family throughout the years. Even family members have to separate. It was an honor being your class president for 2 years. I couldn't have asked for anything better than being your president and a member of the class of 02. Thank you. Senior members of the band, please join the band at this time for a final performance as the band plays an instrumental selection titled From Whom All Blessings Flow.